Welcome to AI Evening News. Tonight, Google shuts down the personal Gemini CLI. Claude drives a robot dog faster than human teams. ChatGPT's health answers start beating doctors. Poolside open sources a 225 billion parameter coder and an AI art studio that wants to scan your whole body. Next, the second half of today's topics. Cold, newsy lead. Let the closing line land. Google just pulled the plug on the personal version of Gemini CLI. As of this week, Gemini CLI and the Code Assist extensions stopped serving requests for Google AI Pro, Ultra, and free individual accounts. Everyone is being pushed to a new tool called Antigravity CLI, a closed-source binary that keeps your skills, hooks, and subagents, but is no longer open. Paid API key users and enterprise Code Assist licenses are untouched, so this lands squarely on individual developers. And it bit hard, with people reporting scripts, cron jobs, and Git hooks silently breaking while free tier limits collapsed overnight. When a company retires the open tool its developers depend on, the backlash writes itself. All with a grounded caveat. Land the last line. Anthropic just had Claude take control of a four-legged robot, and it ran circles around the humans. In Project Fetch, Claude Opus 4.7 worked fully autonomously inside Claude Code, wiring up sensors and writing the control code, the whole loop. On the tasks every team finished, it moved about 18.9 times faster than the human team that also had Claude's help. It was leaner, too, writing roughly 1,000 lines of code where the humans wrote over 10,000. But it is not magic yet, because the robot still could not nudge a beach ball where it wanted it to go. Anthropic's read is careful but striking. We may be entering the early era of physical, agentic AI. Useful and a little wowed. Keep the caveat honest. OpenAI says its fastest model just got dramatically better at health, and it is free for everyone. In ChatGPT, GPT-5.5 Instant now reaches the level of OpenAI's frontier thinking models on the hardest health questions. In a test against responses written by doctors, a separate panel of physicians rated the model's answers higher on accuracy and completeness. It is better at spotting when you might need urgent care, asking for context, and being honest about uncertainty. This was reviewed with a network of more than 260 doctors across 60 countries. The catch worth repeating is that these are OpenAI's own evaluations, so beating a doctor is their scoreboard, not an independent one. Curiosity forward, then a firm reality check. The company behind the Midjourney image generator wants to scan your whole body in about a minute. Its new Midjourney medical division unveiled a spa-like scanner, where you step into a shallow pool lined with about 500,000 tiny ultrasound sensors. In under 60 seconds, it builds a three-dimensional map of your insides, with no radiation, no magnets, no contrast eye. Midjourney claims it is roughly 100 times faster than an MRI, with the first location planned for San Francisco in 2027. Here is the heavy caveat. Because there is no regulatory clearance, it is not diagnostic yet, and it barely uses AI. It is a bold promise from an image gen company, equal parts exciting and unproven. Developer forward, concrete. Warm close. Claude Code can now turn what it is doing into a live web page your team can actually open. The new feature is called Artifacts, and as a session works, it publishes a shareable page that updates itself, like an incident timeline, a PR walkthrough, or a dashboard. Anthropic says the most common use internally was debugging, where you kick off an investigation and Claude publishes the timeline, the suspect commits, and an error chart. Everything is private by default and shareable only inside your organization, and these pages cannot be made public. It is in beta for Claude Team and Enterprise plans, built from the Claude Code CLI and the desktop app. Your coding session just learned to write its own status page. Practical demo energy. OpenAI's Codex can now learn a chore by watching you do it once. It is called Record and Replay, where you demonstrate a repetitive workflow on your Mac, and Codex turns it into a reusable skill you can inspect and edit. Later, you open a new chat, point Codex at that skill with fresh inputs, and it runs the whole thing. Under the hood, it leans on computer use, browser actions, and your connected plugins to actually do the work. For now, it is macOS only, opt-in, and not available in the EEA, the UK, or Switzerland. Show it once, and the busy work basically files itself. Intriguing. Flag its first-party data. Perplexity gave its AI agent a memory that improves itself while you sleep. The system is called Brain, and instead of just remembering your preferences, it records how the agent works, what succeeded, what failed, and the corrections. At night, it reviews that growing map of context and updates itself, so it makes fewer model calls and cleaner output next time. Perplexity's own numbers say it lifts task accuracy by about 25% on work it has seen before. It is a research preview for Max and Enterprise Max subscribers, with no independent benchmark yet. An agent that learns from its own mistakes overnight is a very different kind of assistant. Developer hype grounded in specs. Poolside just open-sourced a frontier-scale coding model, weights and all. Laguna M.1 is a mixture of experts model with 225 billion parameters total, but only about 23 billion active per token. It handles a 256,000 token context, reasons natively, and ships under a permissive Apache 2 license. On coding benchmarks, it is genuinely competitive, with strong scores on SweBench Verified and Terminal Bench. It already has support in the major serving stacks, so you can actually run it today. A fully open, American-built frontier coder is exactly what the open-weight camp has been missing. Punchy debate. The cost twist is the kicker. Elon Musk and a Chinese AI founder just argued in public over how close China is to a top-tier Western model. It started with a claim that China's best open model is around 7 months behind the frontier, roughly Opus class today. Musk's prediction was blunt, just probably Q1, and Zhipu's founder replied it would not even take that long. Musk added a caveat that on benchmarks, maybe, but on real usefulness, even Q1 would be very impressive, and that shows up in revenue, not benchmarks. It lands the same week a new benchmark put Anthropic's Fable-5 on top, a model that is not even publicly available right now. The twist is that the best open-weight model trails the leader by about 90 ELO, at under a quarter of the cost. Light, friendly closer for the show. ChatGPT picked up a few everyday upgrades, and one of them is perfectly timed for the World Cup. It can now help you pronounce words in more than 60 languages, giving you the sound right inside the chat. There's a dedicated World Cup view, so you can ask for scores, schedules, standings, and team stats, and it answers conversationally. And you get finer control over connected apps, choosing when ChatGPT should ask before it takes an action. None of these are flashy on their own, but together they make the assistant feel a little more like a daily companion. Small features, but this is the stuff people actually open the app for. If today's signal was useful, subscribe so you don't miss tomorrow's briefing.